have lots of tabs open here. Well, welcome to today's session. I appreciate everyone who had the time to come out today. And you already know from the invitation, this is sort of just an opportunity for us to touch bases with our English department library liaison. And I had been asking a few questions and I thought, hey, if you're going to talk to me about my questions, let's just open it up to the department and see if other people want to join us. And so I'm going to now give Lori the hosting. I'm going to stop sharing our agenda today. And I'm going to make you the host and change to Lori. And now it's all in your hands.
Okay, hello. Hi, Zach and Angie. I don't think I've met you two before. I have met Brenna, so welcome. Looks like it's going to be a small group, but I am going to share my screen if I'm able to here. And this is going to be pretty informal, but I did create a PowerPoint, so I will start with that. Let's see here. Okay. So what I'm talking today about is the library subject guides, and some of you maybe have already used those, but this is pretty basic going through today. Just what are they? What is the role of the library liaison and our information literacy instruction? How do you access them? What guides do we have related to English classes? How we use subject guides and how you can use them to post links to Blackboard, your classes. And then Marcelata asked me to talk about the faculty resources guide. And I think you wanted to know about the journal alerts. Is that what you were thinking? Okay, great.
Yes, we just got that. I saw that in GRCC today. Not that everyone's out there nerding out like me, but
Yeah.
it's nice to know the features. I get alerts for when this chocolate store has candy on sale. So I figure I should get an alert for when there's something interesting to read.
Yes. All right, so what are the guides? The librarians curate the library resources, and we create subject guides with relevant information to help students begin research on various subjects. So essentially they're websites that we create and we use both in our library instruction classes, and faculty can use them to post to their Blackboard pages. We create the subject guides for our liaison areas on an online system called LibGuides. And LibGuides is sort of the name of the system. We here at GRCC call it subject guides. You can kind of name it whatever you want. I included a quote from the company that makes this system. And as it says, it's a content management system deployed at thousands of libraries worldwide. We use it to organize our library information. And really the goal is to increase the usage of our library resources and content by showcasing them in LibGuides. And we do have a lot of other libraries that use LibGuides as a platform. So if you are on like Grand Valley site or Lansing Community College, I know those are two, but it really is thousands of other libraries. So it's a pretty common format. And we do mention that to students that they'll probably have these guides at other libraries they encounter. So we do use the guides during our library instruction sessions, and we encourage classroom faculty to post the guides to their Blackboard pages. The guides can be accessed from our library website directly on the subject guides. And then we also create URLs that go directly to a guide. This is the example for the music guide. And this is what we usually send out to our liaison areas. So for example, the music liaison librarian, that's Mike, he would send out this link And then just encourage the music faculty to put this link somewhere in their Blackboard, maybe on like the resources folder, so that students will have a quick way to contact the library and connect to library resources. And then guides are also findable through the GRCC website search box, which is on the front page of the GRCC library. And you can even find them in Google. So that's how sometimes we'll get students or other librarians from across the USA contacting us for something about our guides. And this is a system that's kind of cool too, because libraries can share these guides between each other. So sometimes we'll just ask permission to copy a guide from another library. So it's kind of a cool system. So at this point, I'm just going to connect to our library website. And I'll pause and see if anyone has any initial questions for me. No. Okay, awesome. So this is our library homepage. And you would just scroll down. Our OneSearch is a beginning point for students to do their research. It searches across all of our databases, including articles, books, ebooks, and streaming video. So for a lot of our instruction sessions, at least for the ones I do, I will start out students by searching this because it's kind of a comfortable format. It's similar to Google, so they are pretty adept at figuring out how to use it. However, the subject guides will be more advanced research for our students and get them into guides that are more related to their topic area instead of just searching everything. So I connect to it right through that link there. And we do have 93 guides. It's a little crazy. So I don't know that we'll always have this many, but at the moment we have a lot. And essentially each subject area of the college should have a guide. So anthropology, astronomy. And then over here, you see the librarians' profiles. So if I go to my profile, this list represents my liaison areas. We each have our own areas, and then we create the guides and manage the guides for those areas. So the English related ones would be children's lit, economics, composition, not economics, sorry, composition, literature, African-American literature, which is going to be merged with literature, and then the toolkit. Okay. But you can sort of go to any of the librarians and see their list of liaisons. And then it's got my contact info over here so that you know how to contact me or other librarians. And then there is one I didn't, it's not on my list, which is integrated reading and writing. And that is managed by librarian Sophia Brewer, because she is the librarian for the developmental level classes. So otherwise, I do manage these. The one sort of exception is the toolkit. That was mostly created, the content here was created by English faculty and maintained by the faculty. Although if requested, I can make changes to this. Currently, there are 5 English faculty, including Mercelada, who's just gotten an account to edit this guide. So a lot of this language, this infographic was just added by English faculty. And then there's a bunch of tabs here with all the modules, which I'm sure you're probably very familiar with.
So I just want to say, yes,
Yes.
I just got that access. So
Yes.
I feel like I need to take a moment to learn how to interact with that interface.
Yes,
So
yes.
don't ask me any questions right now, any colleagues, about how
No,
to do anything.
no. And And as I said, I'm happy to make changes to that. I don't really keep an eye on the content of it as much as the other ones. So that's just sort of a warning, I guess. So let's look at the composition guide here. So there's a lot of information. English is sort of unique, the composition guide, because as you know, our students are writing about all different topics for their English research papers. And so it's not so easy to just say, oh, this is going to cover like all of our topics. So even when I'm working with English students, composition, I should say, I don't always send them to the composition guide. I might send them to the psychology guide, for example, if they were working on a paper about, you know, the effects of divorce on children, or I might send them to a health guide if they're doing something on cancer treatments. So it really varies based on what they're looking for. But English composition is a general guide, and this will show you some of the similarities that we have between all of our guides. We usually have a welcome page. We usually have a box that will search the OneSearch interface. And then we usually have a box that are a list of databases related to the topic. So as I mentioned, some faculty and some students prefer to use one of these interfaces or databases instead of OneSearch, which is a little bit overwhelming sometimes. So there are links to each database here. There's about 10 of them, I think. And then there's usually a tab for careers in this area and transfer schools. There's a link for citing sources. I think those are the three tabs that kind of carry over and are similar to all of our guides. But I will add things like I added this year because all the English 102 courses are doing the information cycle. So this just works in complement with the curriculum they've created. This is a graphic, this is a guide, and a short video I created, but it's really focusing on how the library fits into that cycle. So how do they find information along the cycle using library sources? And that's kind of the point of our guides, is to link the students with library sources, if that makes sense. So, and then, you know, I will add boxes. You can add boxes, and then within each box, you can add links. You can embed videos like we've done over here. So one of the questions I'm sure you know about is students don't know how to pick a topic or they can't think of one. So I included some just websites that I suggest to students to look through with list of topics. This is some Google tools that I find helpful. But that's pretty much it. You can make it as complicated or uncomplicated as you want, but just keep in mind that every time you add a link, you know, that has to be maintained, just like you would have with a Blackboard class. So each librarian has, I guess, a different approach, but I don't tend to add a ton of links, except some of the ones I find most useful. We also have a tab for the handouts and activities that are used with information literacy instruction. And that's for this page. That's what it looks like. Any of these can be downloaded and used for other classes as well. But that's kind of, you know, what our guides are. And I can, again, pause and see if there's any questions.
I have a question or just a comment. Like in this page here, where it has EN course handouts and activities, so they could be for the information cycle. They could be for or are they all related to the information cycle? Those two different tabs.
This
Yeah.
tab, no, this is not about the
Okay.
information cycle. It's
Okay.
essentially a place for librarians to just post if they're going out to teach a class
Okay.
somewhere, it's not a whole course, then they could put it on here, and then students, like if they missed the class or something, they could then come back and find the handout.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate what you're saying about, the design of it, it could be as complicated or simple.
Yeah.
Because when I look at here and we see the different tabs, and the information cycle is specifically for 102, but then we have a whole, which probably makes sense, we have that whole other section for the toolkit, which is for EN 101,
Yeah.
because it has so many different parts. But
Yeah.
that's helpful.
Yeah. So any other comments, questions? Yeah, as I said, I often will start students out with just the basic OneSearch box here, just to get them started. And subject guides are additional sources. So it depends on what the student is looking for, but I do find, like, for example, I'm the psychology liaison as well. If I go to that page, I don't know how many faculty are actually posting this in Blackboard, but I'm hopeful most of them do. But this is an example of like a subject that I think is pretty helpful to have a guide, because we do have at least 3 specific psychology databases that only focuses on psychology journals or other information related to psychology. And then we have a guide that I have here too that goes through step by step how to do research just for psychology topics. So for that type of course, I think they're really useful. Okay, I thought I might show just how you may want to use this for Blackboard. And there's a lot of different ways to do this, but I have my Blackboard pulled up here. So I'm going to go into I don't have any real classes, so this is a toolbox. But what you can do, I don't know if you can see this, it's pretty small. I just created a couple of different folders or content areas here. So I just named one texts, which you could name it like textbooks, or you may put it with your syllabus. And say you wanted to use one of our ebooks as part of your curriculum, you can do that just by inserting a link into Blackboard. So here's my example. And this brings you back to OneSearch, and then you would click full text online to get into that actual book. And so you could say, okay, students, I want you to read, A Southern Renaissance this week, or actually, we're going to be going through this entire book this semester. So that's one option. And then I also have an assignments area, which you probably have for all of your classes. And just as an example, these would be articles. So let's say I have, okay, here's the folder for week 7. These are my readings for week 7, and I've got links to 2 articles. Yes, Zach.
That's definitely something I'd be interested in doing. And so I wanted to ask, what link would you get to do what you just did? Because I know that when you get sources, there's like at least 2 different kinds of links that someone might.
Yeah.
There's that one in the OneSearch catalog, and then
Yeah.
go to the thing, they'll give you like a different permalink that.
Yes, that's an excellent question, and it is next on my agenda list. So thank you for asking.
Sorry.
That. Yeah, so permanent links are a bit complicated, but let me just show you how you might do that. Let's see here. I'll just come up with a random search here on OneSearch. writing college research papers. And so this is an example of an ebook that, let's say you wanted to bookmark that into your, or share the link. Yes, so here's a link and you can copy it. And that's probably the simplest way if you're in OneSearch. It is quite reliable, I would say. The only thing is, as you probably saw, let me go back to my text here. When you click it, you don't go right to the source, you go to this intermediary link. So the students would have to basically do 2 links. But I do find it to be a pretty reliable. Now, having said that, this is, if you go up to the top of, this is an ebook, okay, ebook landing page. This is on a resource called EBSCOhost, which a lot of ours are. And then there is something called permalink. And you could also copy and paste that. And what's nice about this, just go ahead and go to a new page here, is that will get your students immediately to the ebook instead of having to go through that second link. But I will offer, I guess, a warning. Sometimes the links you find are not permanent. And so I would just encourage you, if you're going to use that, just maybe put it in there like a week ahead of time and then double check both on campus and off campus that it is working. And I'll also offer my help with anyone that wants to create links for a class, that I'm very happy to look at the links for you, or if you have a list of resources that I can kind of look and usually tell if it's going to be a good link or not. So yes, Marcelata.
This is just a follow-up. So is this issue with checking that the link does work, does that include this permalink in the first one that you showed too?
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
That's because I don't have my mic down.
Oh, okay.
I said, is this issue with checking that the link works the same for this permalink and that first one that you showed?
This is pretty stable.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of why, you know, it's nice to save this, but yeah,
Okay.
and then the other thing is, this is like, we subscribe to all of these. So every once in a while, it's all kind of like a package at the library. So every once in a while, they will discontinue access. It doesn't happen very often, but again, it's just a good idea. Like if you're going to be copying over your course to the next semester, just double check those links to make sure they're still working.
And then I just want to follow up, but just a reminder that if you have a like an overview for how to use Blackboard, that might be something you put, if you use the first one, they say it'll open to this page and then you have to click the second link and then you could just add that to your Blackboard overview video. Might be helpful.
Yes.
Lori, I have a question.
Yeah.
This is Brenna.
Hi, Brenna.
Hi. So if a student is clicking onto this link from Blackboard, I know that if they're off campus, sometimes they have to log in then to the library.
Yes.
Would they still have to do that? Or if they're clicking
Yes.
to it from Blackboard, would that be different?
Yeah, they would.
Okay.
Yeah. That is something.
Just so I know for
yeah.
giving them instruction, because that would be a question they'd ask.
Yes. So let me just go through this. Let's see. I can open my other browser here. Whoops. Oh. I just want to show you what it might look like. If I can, it's not working. Bear with me just a moment. I don't know if it's because I'm sharing my screen. My links are acting kind of weird. Okay. Copy. Okay. So if you had that link in Blackboard, the students would first go here. Then they would have to click full text online. Then they would get this screen. And they'll get this pretty much for any library resource. So we just have to put that login there because it's part of our licensing contract with the provider to only give access to people in the GRCC community. Yes, Marcelata.
It's me again.
Hello.
When you just logged on those two screens,
Yeah.
I have a question about that because it just seems odd that when you log in and you put your last name in, it is blacked out. But when you put in your actual student number, everyone can see it. So is there, like, for me, that's an issue in class, because sometimes I'll have students share their screen and they go and they have to log on, but I don't want everyone to see their student number. So I'm just wondering, is there like an IT issue that for some reason the last name is blocked out, but your actual student number isn't? It's weird.
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that. I will say, like, I have the same question, like when I'm teaching online on Zoom, and I don't want everyone to, I don't care about you all seeing it, but usually what I do is before I share my screen, I do that login, because now with anything else I'm accessing, I won't have to log in a second time.
Yes, I just ask because I don't know like who to ask that question of. And I do the same thing in the class. I'll have students log on, but sometimes they're in groups and that happens. So I just didn't know who to bring that up. It just seems like it's flip-flop for some reason, or they both should be blocked out, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think we used to have it that way, and then we found that students there was no way to let students see their number. And then they kept typing in the wrong number. So that sounds familiar, but I think
that's fine. I just wanted to ask, but I don't want to keep down this rabbit hole.
So you asked, does your Blackboard folder with library tour information have a content that we can use to give students a tour? Are you talking about my fake class here?
Yes, I'm talking about your faith class. You went to, I think, assignments.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'm just getting happy. Like, does the library actually have like tools? Because this would be something, I don't know if you have like preset videos or something that we could actually use. And I didn't know if it's just.
Oh, so this is old. So I'm not even sure what's in here. Yeah, I think this is a link to like our old, we have a YouTube video. I don't know if you've used that before. And it's sort of like already probably out of date because so much changed when we shut down. But
no, I saw that and just got happy. I'm like, can we just copy that and use what the library already has?
I mean, it depends on what you want. We have videos, and we can create videos. There's also, let me just see if it's still here. Yeah, there is a guide, a subject guide for library tutorials.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Sophia created this, yeah. And it's like divided up into each section of research. But yeah, haven't looked at this in a while, but I think these are all still active. Okay. So yeah, the linking, it's a little bit complicated. If you're in EBSCO or ProQuest, and you can kind of tell, there's usually some branding on those pages. If you see a permanent link, go ahead and use it. I think those are very stable. Some of our other databases like Gale don't work. And it has to do with the way that it's formatted for that, we call it a proxy, what we route students through to log in to our resources. So if it's not set up correctly, it'll lead them to a dead end, which we don't want. Okay. Oh, halfway mark. Okay, good to know. So I guess the only other thing on my list was to show you that faculty resource page. And it is down here. This is Nan, our librarian, has created this page. And it's really full of information. What was on the library blog was this information about our professional reading. And the list is right here of just a smattering of journals that may be of interest to faculty. And you can connect to any of those through the links here. And when you do that, on this particular one, there's an option to create an alert. And you would enter your email address and decide if you want to be alerted whenever new content comes out or only when full text. I don't know, it depends on what you're looking for. I'd probably do only full text. And then you'll get, whenever new issues come out, you'll get an email alert. And then with links, and you can then click on to read any of the articles. Unfortunately, just like our linking, all the different resources are not necessarily the same. So this is EBSCO again. And on this one, you have to go over to share. You can just save the link if you want. If you want an email alert, you can do that through this link. This one, you have to create an EBSCO account though to do it. So let's see. Whoops, yeah, it's mad at me because I didn't log into my account here. I was going to mention though, because I don't know if you would be interested in these particular ones, but if there is a journal you like and you know about, like I looked up a couple, like college English, composition studies, and teaching English in the 2-year college are all that we have. We do have access to all of those. So I can help you with setting up, if there's a particular one that you're interested in, but also on our library page. This is really getting nerdy here, but if you scroll down, there's a link that says e-journals. And you can search for any journal title. So I will do that. So I'm doing teaching English in the 2-year college. And it comes up and it tells us that we have access from 1997 to the present in ProQuest Central. So I would click that link and then I'll get to the landing page for that journal. So if you don't want an alert, you can also just like bookmark this page with the URL here and just like periodically go back to this page and see what has recently been published. If you want an alert, then you choose that option, put your email in, and it's set to stop after 6 months. You can change that or renew it. It's up to you. But these are, I'm sure, good for your personal research or somehow working into your FPEs or something. I'm not sure, but
we can just go to the A to Z, look up a journal, and if we have it, we can choose to do the alerts once we look it up. Okay.
Yeah. And again, I'm, feel free to contact me if you have any journals you're thinking of or need help finding them or anything like that. So.
Well, everyone, I hope this has been helpful, and I think we're getting to the end of what Lori had to share with us.
Great. I'm glad. Thanks for showing up today.